Hello, it's me, and by request, what I wanted to do is I wanted to get a little bit more closer look at how to solve the 3x3x9 after you've done the Rubik's Cube version. The Rubik's Cube solve, where we have the top part, the middle part, and the bottom part all in. How do you fix all of this mess in between, above and also below? Now, when I originally did the tutorial, I presented it a certain way, which was basically getting all the bottoms and getting the tops after that. And upon looking at that, I realized that that was kind of a more advanced technique where I made some assumptions that you knew what the heck I was talking about. So by request, a viewer actually stated that it might not have been quite as clear as it otherwise could be, which I agree. So I'm going to try to attempt to show it a different way, probably a better way that's easier to follow. It's also a way that I'm going to be using with some of the newer version of the Witeden cubes. So I want to go through how to deal with the individual layers. What I'd like to do is I'd like to demonstrate by using this guy here. This is the 3x3x2. Inevitably, you're going to have a situation where you have two complementary layers. There's one on the top, one on the bottom. The one on the bottom is going to basically borrow everything from the top, and I've already got that in place over here. So this is actually already where it needs to be. So just to go over what I mean, when I get a situation like this, there's three actual stages that can happen with the top layer. And once again, we've already placed the bottom layer and we've borrowed what was from the top to the bottom should we need it. So everything is in the right layer, it's just approached wrong. You've heard me talk about the, quote, sandwich formation. What I really mean by that is I have two colors of the same color on either side and one color that's different. So there'll be like two reds and an orange. Because what I'm trying to do is set up all the corners to be at the right place, but the middles to be different, and then we do middle swapping. So when you have this situation at first where you don't have any of that, quote, sandwich formation, then you're going to do a corner swap. Which one do you swap? It doesn't matter. When you do any one corner swap, you're going to end up with a sandwich formation somewhere. And what that's going to do is it's going to swap this with this and move other things around too. Which will eventually get you that sandwich. And that's going to be 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Then what happens is that the whole what happens is that these two edges in association with each other turn counterclockwise. If you have a middle in between the two, then both segments turn counterclockwise, about just above and just below that middle segment. Then you do 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R. Okay, so that was scenario one, which is where you don't get any sandwich formation. This will convert you to scenario two, where you have one sandwich formation. When you get the one sandwich formation, you then put that sandwich, which again in this case is two greens and a red, turn it to the left side and just do another corner flip. You're going to see that this orange one will end up here and we'll have sandwiches everywhere. So from scenario one, which is the first step, you do the algorithm once, it gives you one sandwich. That leads you to scenario two, where you have the one sandwich, in which case now we're going to get to scenario three by doing the corner flip again. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Everything turns in this case. 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R. So now we have scenario three, where you have sandwiches everywhere. Now in this particular case, all I have to do is I have to get the middles where they need to be. Now scenario 1, 2, and 3 are a forward progression. So you progress from scenario 1 to 2 to 3 by doing those corner swaps. What I was illustrating in the first version of the tutorial is that different segments were at different scenarios. So some of them had to kind of catch up with each other. But don't worry about that now, we're going to do this different. So in order to flip these guys, in order to swap the middles, you have adjacent middle swaps, as you can see by these guys, or you have opposite middle swaps. In this case, you just need adjacent middle swaps. So to do an adjacent middle swap, that's going to be 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. And as you can see, you swapped these two just fine, and now we can do this. An opposite middle swap should I want to do that, if I wanted to say swap these two, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. And as you can see, we uselessly swap these guys. So that was a quick refresher, and now we're going to tackle this. Now, the reason why I took that shortcut with the last tutorial is it can be kind of a headache trying to keep track of all these stripes. But this will be the most efficient way to solve it should you run into a bind. We have a middle in the center. Now this does not get swapped with anything. This is already in, and you're going to get that in by doing our 3x3 version. But what we're going to do is the equivalent of these two is going to be these two above and below the center. So when I do that middle part of the corner swap algorithm, instead of turning the whole puzzle, I just turn it about my center. Now as I'm doing this, I'm going to slowly be expanding what I define as my center. So once I get these two layers, my center is now these three. Then I'm going to get these two layers. And then my center becomes these 5, then these two, and then these two. So in the last tutorial I was trying to mitigate the long arduous task of doing that. It's a more advanced form. After you perfect this, go back and maybe you can understand a little more what I'm talking about here. But let's just do these two layers here. So I've got the green over here, and I need to get the pink over here. I'm just going to be oscillating, I'm just going to be swapping between these two segments. So let's find a pink that I can move down, which is here. So I'm going to just turn this down like this, double turn it to move it into this section, turn it back, and now before I turn it back around, what's right next to pink? It's blue. So I want to put a blue one up here so that I can substitute it for that. And then I can move it here. So basically I've got the pink here, I've got the blue here. So green, pink, blue. Now I want to put the yellow one here. So I'm not going for the overall cross at this point. I'm just going to do it layer by layer, by segment by segment. So this is here, 2R, moving it in. I'm going to move it out of the way so I can turn it back. But let's turn it back where the one that's next to the orange is in place. In this case it'll be green. So let's find, because you can see the green center here. So let's find a green one on top here that we can replace it with. Right here we stop here, 2R, so that's in. Move this back. So now as you can see, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to stay on this segment, and after putting in the centers, putting in my cross, I'm going to put in my corners. Once again, borrowing from up here. So I want the blue and orange corner. Here's a blue and orange right over here. This has to be flip-flop because when I move this, swap this down to here, this is going to end up turning upside down. Now what I'm going to do is to prevent myself from having to move segments individually, giving myself a headache, I'm basically going to move all of these as one. I'm going to move all of these in unison. And the algorithm to move this down to here, to swap that, will be 2R, U, I'll just move the whole thing, 2R, UI, and 2R. So you can see that this is in. Notice that I did something here. When I did that, you may find that I'm messing up this over here. And that's actually okay. What's happening is I'm creating parity here. Every other one that I do is going to create a parity. To get that parity out, I hold it in this position, keeping everything exactly the same, and I just go to the next section here. So orange and green. So find the orange and green from up here, and right over here. Here's an orange and green, and it's in the right configuration. So this is going to come down to here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So basically what that did is it took this, it put this where it's supposed to be, took the parity out of here, and took my complicating events out from over here. So let's move this back. Now that I've done that, there's no parity. I can turn this anywhere I want. Pink and blue. Find a pink and blue. I could just move the whole thing, but I'll keep the cross lined up here. So here's pink and blue over here in the right configuration. Whoops. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So that's in. Keeping it held here because of the parity here. And over here. How about green and pink? So let's find a green and pink. Here's a green and pink, but it's the wrong kind because, no, actually it's the right kind. So this will come down to here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. And all is right with the world. Now eventually as I do this, you're going to find that I've got this stripe in. This layer is in just fine. So now I'm going to focus just on the top here, and what do I see? Well, I have scenario, I think I called it scenario 3, sandwiches everywhere. So all I have to do is I have to do middle flips. And that's what I'm going to do. So this can flip to here. So I'm going to do an adjacent middle swap to move these here. I'm just going to be moving it from here. So 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So that did swap this to here. It created parity over here, and only over here. It's not going to create it from the top or the bottom. So it created parity here. Now notice I didn't have to do any corner swapping with that. That's just happened to be how it turned out, but I could have, and I would use the same algorithm. The middle swaps are parity creating, but that's okay. We're going to try to get them out. Let's go ahead and swap these two. So I'm going to put this over here. And this will predictably take the parity out of here. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So that swapped these two. Now I've got this middle and this middle. So this is going to be an opposite middle swap. Using this one as my U, that's going to be 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R. Then you can finish up with a 2 if you want to. So basically we have all these in, but we're left with parity over here. So these two need to be swapped. So that's what in essence we're going to be doing by layer. Get the one in by moving it down from the one that's above, place these using all the scenarios that we mentioned, and then deal with parity. So let's deal with this parity now before we move on. I'm going to hold it over here, and the parity algorithm to swap these two is going to be, in this case, when I just have one to be swapped, it's going to be 2U, 2R, 2F, and then once again 2U, and then 2F, 2R, 2U, and then after doing that, you just turn it back like this. Now you're going to find as you're doing that, you're going to start to mess things up with the top layer over here, and that's actually okay because we can deal with that at the very end. We're sort of moving it out of the particular configuration that we got doing a Rubik's Cube, but you know this will ultimately I think be an easier way of doing it. So now this has become our new center. So now we're going to oscillate above and below that with this layer over here. So let's put in our cross over here. So here's the green here. I need to get a pink. I'm going to borrow it from this over here. So 2U over here. Move this here. Right next to the pink is going to be blue. So let's move a blue in to exchange it with. And then move it back. All right, so we got our green, we got our pink, we got our blue, and we've already got our orange over here. So now we're just going to roll in corners from the top here. So I'm looking for the orange and the green. If you don't have an orange and green, it means it's down here somewhere, so we can't use that yet. How about green and pink? Nope, no green and pink yet. Well, how about pink and blue? Gotta give me something. Aha! Pink and blue. So I can use this and move this down to here. So just keep paying attention to where you're supposed to be. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So that's where it needs to be. We created parity here. So we're going to just keep moving it from here. How about blue and orange? See if we can find that blue and orange. And it's right here. And this is the correct one. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So now that's in. So come over here, green and pink. And it's going to be moved from over here. That's not it. And that's it right there. This will move down here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So green and pink is in. How about the orange and green? Got to be up here somewhere. Actually, it's right here ready for me. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, so now we've got this in. We've got this whole part in here. Now I just deal with its complementary layer where everything is in. So which scenario do we have? We have scenario 2 because we have a sandwich here. So this is moved to the right, and then basically we're going to be moving this layer and this layer with the algorithm of doing a corner switch to put this corner to here to get a sandwich over here as well. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, this turns with a UI. The complementary bottom one turns with a U. Then 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R. This is moved back from the bottom. So now we have scenario 3, where all we have to do is swap middles, and that's what we're going to do. So let's swap these two. 2R, U, 2R, whoops, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. All right, got a little parity going on in here, but that's okay. Let's see where things shake out. All right, all we have is an opposite middle swap with this, which will take the parity out. All middle swaps, whether it's adjacent or opposite, are parity creating or parity fixing algorithms. 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, and we're good. Now we've extended our middle even further. Same thing with over here. So let's go ahead and just find something that's already in a little bit. How about here? Okay, so here's the pink. I want to get a blue one over here. Well, do I have a blue one up here that I can borrow it from? And the answer is no. So let's not do that. Let's go to blue instead. Blue, right next to that is orange. Here's an orange. So we're going to double turn this here. Move this out of the way. Now what's right next to orange is green. Do we have a green one that we can substitute in? Yeah, here. So double turn it. And we're good. Now I've all but given up on the top and bottom side, but that's okay. We're going to hit that next. So this is in, this is in, this is in, and we need our pink. Here's our pink. Move that twice. Move it out of the way so we can move it back. But what else do we want to roll? A blue. Here's a blue. Roll that in here, and kerplop. So now we have a nice little crossover here. Once again, borrowing from above, blue and orange. Blue and orange is right here. So 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So that's in. Got a even more elongated parity over here. So move it over here. How about orange and green? Yeah, right here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Got a parity out. So let's move it over here. Pink and blue. How are we doing with that? Nope, nothing that I can use up there. So how about green and pink? Thought I saw a couple of those right over here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So we're good. Move this back here to coincide with our parity. Pink and blue, right up here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So we're good. Now the top part here, sandwich, sandwich. All we have to do are middle swaps. Let's swap these two. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. These are in, parity here, no worries. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, so now our middle segments have all but expanded here. We just have these two to go. So let's go ahead and find a place here. Remember, this is the yellow side. So here's a green. I want to put the pink yellow up here. That's over here. So what I'm going to do is exactly the same thing as before. I'm just going to move this down, move this back. Now I want a blue one. Do I have the blue one up here? I don't. Oh, actually I do. It's right over here. So 2R and then move it back. So this is in, this is in, this is in. I got to get this one in. I've got one more left, which is this. I know this is the only one to move in, the last one to move in. So I'm just going to do a quick move this to the side, move this up, bring the yellow and orange one in, and move it down. So what I have is I have my cross at the bottom. Now I do exactly the same thing. Here I see blue and pink, so that makes it easy. I know it comes from over here. Actually, move it over here, and same thing. Move this down to here. It'll bump this out, but that's okay. It's not where it's supposed to be anyway. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. There it is. Here's our long stretch of parity. So let's move this out of the way. I see a orange and green one waiting for me at the top, so I'll move that into position here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. We're good. So let's see, how about pink and green? That goes obviously down over here, pink and green. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. We're good. We have one remaining one left. Move that into position here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, so now what do we have up here? We have scenario 1, no sandwiches. So what do I do about this? I do a corner swap. Which one? It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, you can do any one. I'll just happen to do this, which will move this green to here. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. This moves by a UI. Its complementary layer moves by a D. 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R. This gets moved back. So this will automatically take us to scenario 2, where we have a sandwich. So this goes to the left. If I was saying right before I meant left, sorry. So this goes to the left. And another corner swap will put this blue to here to make another sandwich. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, UI, D, 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R. Move this back. So now I have all sandwiches, and I have these guys that have to be dealt with. So let's swap these two. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Got my parity here, but easily fixed with an adjacent middle swap over here. 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, and it's solved. So that's an alternative way of doing it, by starting from here and moving outward as opposed to upwards. Perfect it that way. Look at the previous tutorial and see that what I was doing is I just got all of these in, and I was just trying to coordinate these to where scenario 1 in this level was going to catch up with scenario 2 and so on. But I can see why that might lose some people as I'm doing that. Now, you could get parity at any step along the way. You do it exactly the same way. If these were out, then you just do the parity starting from here. Here's Parity Situation One. You see the blue, green, blue. Hold it over here. You want to start your U just below your first area of parity. 2U, 2R, 2F. Then you go 2U, then just above that 2U. Then 2F, 2R, 2U. And you got it. That's scenario 1. Here's scenario 2, where this is where your parity is. You just cut it from above here this time. 2U, 2R, 2F, then U, U, 2F, 2R, 2U, and so on and so forth. So you can keep doing it that way. Every so often you'll see all three that are in a parity situation. Just do the same way. It's going to mess up the tops, but you're not going to be at the tops yet, so that's going to be solved independently. So give that a try. Let me know what you think. Hopefully that clarified things. It's actually this method that I'm going to be using for subsequent Witeden models in the future. Hope it helps.